Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for visiting on this beautiful first day of fall here in Glens Falls. My name is Jonas Ordway. That's Jonas, some Jonas, and it's Ordway, O-R-D-W-A-Y, unlike the writing on the family monument, O-R-D-A-W-A-Y. We're still trying to figure out how that happened, but I can assure you that it's Ordway, O-R-D-W-A-Y. I was born in 1813, right over in Vermont, not with a silver mouth, but with the type of education which enabled me to use my strong arms and sturdy back to earn my keep. As a young boy at age 8 or 9, I kept occupied chopping up firewood for all the neighbors and stacking it by their doorways in anticipation of the cold winters which we always experienced. When I grew to the full size at age 13, I was sent to work down on the canals. There were many skills to learn and many interesting experiences to endure during the ensuing years. But I was determined to make for myself a better life than the one that a laborer could make for himself. Now, by the time I was 20, I was already freighting down on the feeder canal. And because of my enterprising spirit and my knowledge of lumber, I began to acquire and partner with various lumber companies. I was part of the founding party of the Morgan Lumber Company. I also began to purchase large tracts of lumberland up north. At about the same time, I became president of the Glens Falls Gas and Light Company. Now, in 1835, I met Clarissa Chambers, and we had a home built for ourselves down on the corner of Locust and Warrant Streets, near my business interests. A visitor told me some time ago that that home stands there, and in fact that it's been placed on the National Register of Historic Places. Also, that it appears to be somewhat unoccupied for some reason, but still structurally sound. And I would go on to have 2 children, a son and a daughter. But sadly, we lost both of them in early adulthood to various bouts of smallpox, cholera, and typhoid fever. In the ensuing years, as sometimes happens, our relationship deteriorated, and for all intents and purposes, our marriage ended. But as you may know, in those days, divorce was not an option, and so simply moved on. To continue to feel motivated in life, I decided to pursue the notion of expanding our businesses further north into the central Adirondacks, and we purchased large tracts in Indian Lake and North Creek. And I settled in Johnsburg, and I built and operated a hotel with an accompanying farm for provisions. Now, I continued to maintain my business here in Glens Falls, including my partnership in the Morgan Lumber Company, which was to go on in the 1880s to become the largest lumbering company on the Hudson River. I also had built an additional hotel to accommodate lumbermen and also prospective clients. Now, I'm going to share with you some personal information about my life, which you may or may not understand and may or may not approve. Many folks like to gossip about it and turn it into a sordid tale. Now that my businesses were prospering, I moved further up north and purchased a farmhouse in North River. And I lived as part of a couple with my housekeeper, Melissa Persons. Now, the pious folks of the central Adirondacks shunned Miss Persons for her relationship with me. I, on the other hand, never seemed to suffer any of the social consequences of our union, at least not to my face. Miss Persons and I would go on to have 3 children, all of whom, sadly, we lost to diphtheria. And all 3 rest in the cemetery up in Indian Lake. Now, I can assure you that all two of the lovely women in my life were both during my lifetime and after my passing in 1890. Now, having lost all 5 of my children, I was consumed by their absence every day, of ever having the joy of becoming a grandfather. It occurred to me that I should give some thought to the healthful and spiritual development of young boys. And so when I was asked, I contributed financially to the establishment of a YMCA here in Glens Falls. Initially above the J.E. Sawyer store downtown, where it rapidly outgrew that space, and finally in a brand new building right on, where I'm told by visitors that even today, beneath its columns and above its entrance, one can see the name Ordway Hall. O-R-D-W-A. It's a great comfort to me to have somewhat of a legacy in this lovely community of Glens Falls. That's a precious gift. I never did get to see the completion of the YMCA building, but that the organization prospered greatly and in fact moved to a larger and more accommodating facility further north of us here at Crandall Park. It's a wonderful thing to have a legacy. Thank you for your kind attentions today, and as you move on through your journey through this peaceful vale, I would like to extend to you an invitation to pose to yourselves a question which I often posed to myself during 7 years here on this temporal sphere. And that is this: what will I do with the time gifted to me? And what will be my... Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and I bid you a good day.
Thank you.